What is up, all you gamers, YouTubers, roughnecks, and all you sports enthusiasts out there? It's your boy DL Rico. It is Thursday. Usually I do a throwback Thursday where I talk about some kind of memory, some kind of instance that happened while I was in high school, maybe even a couple years ago. Today there's actually kind of a topic that I want to get to. We can call it Throwback Thursday, as it's been probably a little over a week and a half that it's been mentioned. Uh, but I finally wanted to talk about the Game 5 of the NBA Finals, Spurs versus the Miami Heat. Um, because there just seems to be still no love for the Spurs. Last year when Miami took it all for the second time, and their a little repeat of their NBA Finals win, there was nothing on TV for a whole week except for Miami, them winning. Their little press conferences with LeBron, with Wade, with Bosh, and talking about future things to come. Oh, this is his legacy, and then they refer back to the little comments that he would make during their parade when they first got together as the big three. Not one, not two, not three, not four. And everybody, they reverted back to that. It's like, man, can it really happen? And there's been nothing like that this whole week and a half for the San Antonio Spurs. They kind of broadcasted their parade through San Antonio, to show off the trophy for the team, to kind of say thank you to the crowd for supporting and everything. But other than that one day, which was very limited. I mean, the parade probably went on for a few hours, but they only showed very little. I just feel like there should be a little bit more love for the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it, even though it's already been broadcasted and talked about by various others. But so Game 5 started. For me, I knew that Miami had to come out swinging and had to come out big. I actually kind of planned it in my head already. Like, I wanted the Spurs to win, but I had this feeling that something was going to click within LeBron and maybe even Wade, that they were just going to just kind of take control and just drive the game at their pace, the way that they normally dominate. They were going to take it to the hole. They were going to take every open shot and layup available, and their defense was just going to be smothering to where it would still be a close game, but I figured Miami would pull it out with a win, and San Antonio would have to go into Game 6 in Miami to win it. But right out of the gate, the first quarter, man, LeBron was on fire. He like I had predicted and thought he was going to do. He was just driving it to the lane. His defense was on point. He was blocking shots. He was there for rebounds and putbacks, and his presence was just very, very well known in that first quarter. They went up on they started in the first couple minutes with just like an 8-0 run. They went on to be, I want to say, 16 points ahead of the San Antonio Spurs. It was like 22-6, and Popovich called a timeout, and he was just like, we gotta remain calm, and we gotta get back to the basketball that we're normally used to playing. But just after they kind of showed that little behind the scenes with the microphones and everything, they went back to the pregame when Heat are in the huddle, and LeBron James is telling his team, like, hey, we got to get this, we got to shoot that, we got to be more self-aware. And he goes, follow my lead. And he kind of the lead that he set was just kind of left everybody in the dust. There was nobody on the team that was up to take that challenge. And it showed. Again, LeBron did his thing. You cannot be mad at his talent and what he kind of contributed, but there was just nobody else could follow through. Wade looked absolutely tired. Despite what he says, he says there's nothing wrong with him physically. He was doing his thing and being on point, but it's like, you're not. When you're not making shots and not playing the game that everybody's used to seeing you play, you're not on your game, and there is something wrong. But anyway, first quarter, 22-6 is what they ended up breaking out to, and then all of a sudden, they just kind of readjusted again, took a little breath, and was like, okay, let's get back to our game. And San Antonio pretty much took over. And the first quarter ended up 29-22. So after going 22-6, they only scored 7 points for the rest of that first quarter, while Antonio went to score another 16 to make it 22 and only seven points down. In the second quarter, the Spurs got back into the rhythm, ended up outscoring the Heat 25-11, and you could just see it like click. Um, James just the fire in his eyes and his the facial expressions that he made in the first quarter, they were just totally wiped out. He just kind of had that. You could tell that there was this look of frustration on his face, like, what more can I do? Like, I got you this lead. You know, we were up and we were doing this thing, and now they're up by like I want to say they were up by like 9, uh, 40 to 40. Oh, 7 points. Okay, so 47 to 40 at the half. When the time closed down, and you could just see it on his face. He's like, I don't have anything else left to give. Like I drove the very first half for you guys, and I wanted you guys to come and support me and help me out, but there was just absolutely nothing. And when you look at the point stats with the whole Miami Heat team, it's like, yeah, LeBron got his 31, which is like kind of expected of him. But his supporting cast, you know, Chris Anderson, Birdman, he got 0 points for the game, 0 points for Shane Battier. Ray Allen only scored 5 points, and he's always a big scorer. Same thing with Dwayne Wade. He's usually in the like teens or even 20s with his scoring. He only got 11 for the game. Chris Bosh only got 13, and he's usually about in the 20s. And there was just nothing there. And it's not that they weren't, because they were getting some good looks. Don't get me wrong, San Antonio did play their defense, but at times they did get some solid looks, and they just could not connect. In the third quarter, oh God, Patty Mills, man, he put on a show. He put in, I think he shot 14 points. He made 14 of his 17 points in that third quarter, and I know that 3 of those were 3-pointers, and he was frustrating the Miami defense so much and their offense. He got 2 fouls. He got 2 fouls called on, I believe it was Wade, for offensive charge, or maybe even maybe it was Ray Allen, but got offensive charge calls against the Heat, and then took the ball to the other side of the court and started knocking down threes. So he played a huge part in their game. He ended up scoring 17 points for the game. Kawhi Leonard, he's ever since Game 3, he's just been very, very aggressive and quick to try to get to his rhythm, like I suggested in Game 1 and 2. And he ended up ending the game with 22 points, walking away with the MVP of the finals. And then the fourth quarter, it was just about, you could see that while the San Antonio Spurs maintained their poise and composure, they also knew that it was just like, we still got to hammer them down. We still got to, like, remember why we're here. There was 30 seconds left last year that we thought we had, and then we ended up losing at the last second. So let's, just because we have this going for us, let's not let up at all. And they pretty much stepped on their neck and just did not stop pounding away. That was not the only, but they outscored in the third quarter. They outscored the Heat 30-18. Fourth quarter, 27-29. So they were pretty much matching basket for basket. And I know LeBron, he was like shooting his threes, he'd make them, and then all of a sudden Manu Ginobili or Patty Mills would get the ball and start shooting threes, and they would make them. So it was like there was nothing that the Heat, once the Spurs got the lead, they just ran away with it, and there was nothing the Spurs could do. Or, oh God, I'm like all messing up on my words. But there was nothing the Miami Heat could do to really just stop it. Their ball handling was amazing. They were playing just total team basketball, instead of being like a one player dominant, or even the big three dominant kind of team that Miami Heat is, or any team now. You look at the OKC OKC Thunder, and you have Kevin Durant, you have Westbrook, and or even the Clippers with Chris Paul, and I see him, Blake Griffin. God, I was like, I just saw him on a TV commercial. Why can't I think of his name? But those are the shot makers, the people that they go to. Whereas the Spurs, everybody trusts one another, and it's so refreshing to see that the ball doesn't have to always go to Kawhi Leonard. It doesn't always have to go to Tim Duncan or Manu Ginobili. I thought Tony Parker would have a bigger game than he did. He scored 16 points, but until I want to say the third quarter, he was like 0 for 11, and I was kind of getting frustrated at first, but then once he in the fourth quarter, he just kind of took off and started shooting. He shot 7 for 7, and again ended up getting 16 points. So it was just the whole series. It was a beautiful display of the things that they can do together, and show, kind of like be a beacon for other teams to kind of look towards, because that's exactly how basketball should be played. It is a team game. The team should be involved. It should never be revolved around just one player. And give LeBron James credit for his talent and what he was trying to do, and how he tried to motivate and drive his team. But you think of this could be probably the throwback of it, but you think of Jordan and the Bulls to this day, or in this day and age, and yeah, Jordan had some great games. Once in a while, he would, break out and score his 60 points, 40 points, or whatever. But for the most part, you still remembered the rest of his team. You still remembered Scottie Pippen. You still remembered Dennis Rodman, Rod Harper, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley. You still remembered all these players because of how involved they were, and how much the team tried to make everybody involved on the game. So it was just an awesome display. But Spurs ended up winning 104-87, a 17-point lead, which makes the third game in a row that they led and won by at least 15 points or more. And I believe that's an NBA record. Again, winning it in Game 5 when everybody thought it would go to 6-7. It's a really cool feeling. But again, there's just not a lot of love for the San Antonio Spurs, and it sucks, because again, all last year it was just nothing but the Heat for a week. And even now, and no disrespect to it was such a tragedy the day after that the San Antonio Spurs won, that Tony Gwynn ended up passing away, and may he rest in peace and everything. He had a great career. He did a lot with the San Diego Padres, great batting average, and it definitely is a tragedy. But even the day after that, or a couple days after that, the World Cup started airing, and then it all of a sudden, like this past week, it became about the Miami Heat again. It was like, oh, well, now what's up for LeBron James? What's going to happen with the Miami Heat? What's going to happen with Dwayne Wade? Is he going to sign Carmelo Anthony? Is he going to convince him to come to Miami, or are they going to go over to the Dallas Mavericks? Or now it's just a media fest about where's everybody going to go. NBA draft is actually on tonight. So that's probably the biggest reason why I wanted to come on and talk about the Game 5, other than the fact that I was supposed to do this anyway. But yeah, so it was a great playoff series. I enjoyed watching it. My team got knocked out in the first round to the Wizards. I've always loved the Chicago Bulls ever since I was little, so but I'm happy that the Miami did not win for the third time. And even without the win, LeBron is still being compared to Jordan, which absolutely irritates me. But now it's more of a talk about, how much of his legacy is going to be kind of tarnished, or, how is his legacy versus the team's legacy going to be, as like Jordan with the Bulls. Everybody, you still remember the Bulls that played. You don't really recall a whole lot of the Heat players, other than maybe Ray Allen, mostly because he was on the Celtics and won those championships. Udonis Haslem maybe, but definitely Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. Those are the big three names that you're going to remember. You might not remember all the little players. With the Chicago Bulls, you remembered the little guys, the smaller ones. Steve Kerr, who's actually doing a lot of things right now in sports. But in any event, big hats off to the San Antonio Spurs for not only winning, but showing the NBA exactly how it's to be won. what was it? I was watching a movie. How it's not just about how it's not just about winning the battle. It's about how the battle is won, and they uh, they showed everybody that this is like the purest form of the sense. So big ups to them. Big hats off to Tim Lincecum for pitching his second no hitter. Rest in peace, Tony Gwynn. Want to thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate your love and support. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. And yeah, stay tuned because I will talk to you guys later. Peace.
Would you like to know more?